Hello and welcome to my homestead. Today I want to show you a little bit about my figs and also talk about how they're growing. It looks like it's going to be a really good year. Now you can see these are my 3 large ones, and the ones that were really small last year also grew up, so we're going to go through them. So let's start with this fig. This is one of my favorites. It almost died this past winter. The winter was so harsh that everything froze, and you can see the dead canes. I need to actually chop them down, but I thought it was gonna die. It did not start growing until almost end of May, well past the time when everything else was growing. This fig was already setting fruit, and this one has just started growing leaves. But it made up the difference. It grew, in some cases, 4 to 5 feet in one season. And it definitely has a lot of figs on them. I know it's hard to see, especially in this light. So just for the fun of it, I took this one branch. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 figs on just this one branch. And it's one of about a dozen. So it's going to be a very good season for figs. Now there are 2 varieties of actual fruit. You have the first flush, which is usually on the hardwood from last year, and you have the new wood. This is all from the new wood from this year. Most of it. Like I said, this tree was almost dead. Now this one had figs setting in the old wood as well as new, and it's also loaded. Just take a look at this. Every single branch is overloaded with figs. It had a few figs in the beginning of summer. Those we already ate. Unfortunately, there was not that many of them to begin with. But the second flush is loaded. There's going to be dozens, if not hundreds of figs from just one tree alone. Look at this. So many fruit forming. Now again, I'm not counting the figs all together yet, because every year I also get guests in forms of squirrels, raccoons, opossums, and rats. And they love fresh figs. They can smell them the moment they start ripening, and they come and they strip them. So it's usually a battle of time who can get to them first before the animals can destroy them. But for now, I'm just enjoying the fact that there's so many of them growing. Same thing on this. This is not one of my favorite varieties, not as tasty. This is the mission fig, or a black fig, but it's just as productive. It's definitely better fruit than it has been last couple of years. A lot more of it and bigger fruit. Usually this is much smaller. So now look at this. Let's go take a look at these. These are my smaller or younger plants, and they have not produced anything until this year. This year they're actually setting fruit, so I'm very happy to see it. It's not much, not as nearly as much as the other plants. But they are fruiting, so that's already encouraging. At least I'm gonna find out what varieties they are. They should be yellow figs, so they're more likely to die off and freeze off during the winter and then start growing during the summer again. Same thing here. This is even more delicate, and it's harder to grow this particular variety. It does have a fig. If we can get to it. So it does have a fig. It's trying to produce. Hopefully I'll find out what the taste is like. But I'm just happy to see how much they're growing rapidly, and just to know that they're healthy. Again, it's very easy to lose them. So these have not grown as much, but they're still about 2 to 3 feet up higher than they used to be last year. Now let's go and take a look at some of my figs that are potted in pots. So here we are. I have several pots. I have these 3. As you can see, they're nowhere near as vigorous as the other trees, mostly because the root systems are bound. At least they're limited by the pots. They had been transplanted early in the spring, so now they're recovered and they're growing. You can see the new leaves are forming, but they're way behind. All except for this one. This one has not been moved. It was suffering from the dehydration. We were in a severe drought, but it did form some figs, a lot of them. Look at these huge yellow figs. This is one of my favorite varieties, the Italian fig. Beautiful. These are all yellow figs. Now one of them was almost ripe. You can see the difference in color. And unfortunately, a bird had landed on it and knocked it off. So let's open it up and take a look. So here we are. Beautiful yellow fig. It is ripe, it's just not very ripe, not overly. Definitely could have used a couple more days. It's sweet, doesn't have the honey taste yet. So it has the sweetness, and it is soft, just not the honey. Now I do have one fig that has been problematic for me these past 3 years. This one just refuses to grow and to produce anything. It's been very well developed for the last 3 years. It's not a young plant. It just refuses to grow. If you take a look at it, remember I told you there is old wood and there is new wood? Well, this is mostly old wood from previous years, and I could not get it to grow. It's not root bound. I checked. I actually had to lift it up to check. It is not root bound. For some reason, it was not happy. But after this deluge of rains, hopefully whatever chemical it had on it that stopped it from growing has been washed out, and it's growing new leaves, finally. So I'm hoping it will finally start growing the way the figs should be. Like I said, every year I would expect a tree like this to grow 3 to 4 feet taller. That's normally what you would get. And this one has not been. It's not producing and it's not growing, but it hasn't been. So I'm hopeful that by this end of this summer, it will have grown couple more feet at least. Get more branches, get more strength, and we'll see how it does. So on this note, thank you for joining me, and until next time.